It's Christmas time, my favorite time of the year. And one of my favorite things to do is making candies and cookies and confections. And today we're going to be making candy using a potato. So stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm so glad you stayed tuned. So you might be thinking, candy made from a potato? I know it sounds odd, but trust me. This dates back to the turn of the 20th century when it was brought over to the United States, and it became very popular in the Depression era because potatoes were affordable and they were plentiful during that time. So people got creative and used the potato for different things. And potato candy has been a tradition for many years now. So, I mean, according to my sources, you can look it up. If you know some more history about using potatoes to make candy and confections, I would love to hear from you. So please let me know in the comments. But right now, this is going to be the base for most of your potato candies. There may be some that are different, but for the ones that I'm making, this is the base. So first you're going to take a large, like a baking style potato, a big large russet. And you want to wash it really good, and we're going to peel it because we don't want the peeling in our candy. Normally if I'm eating a potato, I love to keep the skins on. But for this, I don't want the skins on it. So let's get this potato all peeled up here. Okay, I've got my potato peeled, and then you want to carefully inspect to make sure there's no eyes on there or any dark spots. I'll have to do some more research, but I think in the Depression era, if they peeled a potato, they found use for the potato skins. But I'll have to do some more research. If you know anything about that, I'd love to hear from you. So all we're going to do is just to cut this in quarters. We don't need to dice it in small pieces. So I just cut it in half. Cut that in half. I'm going to cut it in half again. So maybe not quarters. Chunks about that big. Okay, and there's a little dark spot I don't want on there. Cut that in half. You don't need to dice it, but it does cook a little bit faster if it's cut in smaller chunks. So I've got some water boiling here, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of sea salt to this water. Let that get to boiling good. And you want to carefully, if you're pre-boiling, if you're adding it in there cold, it's okay, but just to carefully add these potatoes to the hot water. Now I'm going to bring them to a boil. They probably need to boil anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. You want to get them really good and soft. You want to be able to pierce it with a fork, but you don't want to be able to pick the potato up with the fork, if you know what I mean. So let's get these boiled, and I'll be right back. Okay, my potatoes have been boiling, and I just tested to see if they're ready, and they are. So I'm going to carefully get them out of the boiling water. Try to drain them as much as you can here. A tad bit of water won't hurt, but you don't want a whole lot of water in there. I'm short. I can't really see very well. You could call me Santa's helper, I guess. Okay, those are done. So I'm going to turn the heat off of there. So, now these are ready to mash. And you can mash them with a mixer, a fork, or what have you. I have a potato masher, and I was wanting a potato masher, and I couldn't find one. And my husband was at a flea market, and he found this one for me. So I'm so happy to have it now. So we're going to mash these potatoes, and we're going to get them really good and mashed. We don't want any lumps in here. And they're really hot right now too. I think those are about good. Now this was a very large potato. If you were just making one recipe, you would use a little bit smaller one. So I'm going to divide this potato out. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of divide it out, and I'm going to get me a spoon here. And I'm going to add half of this to my stand mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, don't worry about it. You can use a hand mixer. You can even use just a spoon. If you have some kind of a way to mix it, I would recommend using some kind of a mixer, because it's going to take you a long time to get it mixed up with a spoon. And those potatoes are hot, so be careful dealing with them right now. They're going to cool off when we get them going here. Be careful. We don't want any injuries in Mrs. Claus's kitchen. Okay. So I'm going to leave these. That's about half. I'm going to set these aside for later for a different recipe, and I'll show you that in a different episode. Okay, so put that aside. So we're going to use pure vanilla. You could use imitation, but I don't recommend it. We go to Mexico sometimes when we're going on a cruise. We purchased this on our last cruise when we went to Mexico. It's lasted a really long time, and it's really good quality vanilla. You don't have to buy it from Mexico. You can buy it at the grocery store, but I would recommend that you use real vanilla and not an imitation vanilla. So we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla extract in here just to give it some flavor. Okay, we got that in there. Now we're going to mix it up with powdered sugar. We're going to do it a half a cup at a time just to get it going. You're going to need a lot more than half a cup. So I got my half a cup here, and I'm going to add that to the bowl, and I'm going to get my mixer ready. Again, you can use a hand mixer, or you can mix it by hand, but this is just easy. So start it on slow so you don't get powdered sugar everywhere. Now you can use your spatula to get the sides here. Ooh, that smells really good. I like it first. Okay, so I got some down here. I'll get that in there. Okay, so we're going to need a whole lot more, because what you're looking for, you want a consistency of something like Play-Doh. You want it very pliable. You don't want it too firm where it will crack, but you want it where it's firm, you can roll it out. So I'm going to put another half a cup. You get that in. And you may think I'm using an awful amount of powdered sugar. And yes, you are right. You will be using an awful lot of powdered sugar. Sometimes it is easier using a hand mixer because you get around the sides a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and add another half a cup while this is going. And it takes a while. You got to keep adding and mixing, adding and mixing. The starch and the sugar mix together and it liquefies. That's just a liquid right now. We can't work with that. So I'm going to turn it off and get the sides scraped. It smells good. That vanilla hit the hot potatoes. And with that confectioner's sugar, it does smell good. First time I heard about potato candy, I thought it was bizarre. But like I said in the intro, it has a history dating back at the turn of the 20th century. And then it became really popular during the Depression era. Okay, let's see how it does with another. I may have to get another supply of sugar. Yeah, it takes a lot. It really does. The more potato you use, if you use a smaller potato, it doesn't take that much. But I want to make a good amount of pinwheels. So I may be able to get 2 rolls out of this. I haven't been keeping track, so I don't really know how much I've used. You can comment if you have been counting. So I'm going to keep adding and mixing, and when it gets to the consistency that I think we need it, we'll be back. But basically, if it forms a dough and you can pick it up and it's sticking to your hands really badly, it's not ready. If you can pick it up and mold it and it doesn't stick to your hands very badly, then it's ready. So I'm going to continue mixing, and then when it gets to the consistency we need, I'll be right back. Okay, see it's struggling a little bit. You can hear a little resistance. So it means it's probably ready. I had to lock it down because it was struggling a little bit. Oh yeah, see all this right here? It's very pliable. We can mold it, and it's not really sticking to our hands, so it's ready. So we may do this in 2 batches here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll take that off. Maybe. Okay. Oh, first I've got to sprinkle my parchment paper with a little bit of powdered sugar. And I ended up using a whole bag plus a little bit of another bag. And there's a pretty large bag. If you use a smaller potato, if you don't need to make this much, you won't need as much confectioner's sugar. So yeah, I'll get 2 logs out of here very easily. Because we're going to make the logs, and then from the logs we're going to make the pinwheels. Alright, so sprinkle a little bit more on top. Alright, then we're going to put it between paper so it doesn't stick to our rolling pin. Get that off my fingers. And then we're just going to roll it. anywhere between 1/4 to maybe 3/4 of an inch thin. So I'm rolling it. And I'm doing it between paper so it doesn't stick to my rolling pin. Let's check that out. Okay. So if you want to make it an even rectangle, you can trim it off a little bit. I'll put that back in the bowl. Just cut that in over here. And just a little bit on this end. Kind of makes it even. Okay, next we're going to spread peanut butter. Now you could use Nutella or something like that if you would like. I like peanut butter. I think Nutella would be good. It might make it overly sweet. I'm going to get a clean knife. But yeah, you know, be imaginative. Whatever you want to spread in there. So just get a good amount of peanut butter, any brand you want. I don't know if the crunchy variety would work very well. And just leave the very end of it without anything on it so you can roll it. I don't have one. If you had a cake spreader knife, spatula, whatever you call it, that might make it a little easier. But we work with the tools we have. Just because I have something you don't doesn't mean you can't make things, or you may have tools that I don't have, and find ways to make it easier. Okay, so just evenly distribute that, leaving the ends uncovered. Oh, this smells so good. It smelled good when I was blending it. That the potatoes were still hot when I put it in there. And I put that vanilla in there with the powdered sugar. And oh, it just smelled so good. This peanut butter smells good. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, so we're going to roll it in a log. Do the best you can. Just pull this in right here. Okay. You can get it a little tighter. Get it a little tighter. Okay, I think that's good. The log has been chilling for at least an hour. So let me show you what you're going to do after they've been chilled. Just unroll it. I think this got flat a little bit. So and then you want to cut them probably close to an inch thick. Let me show you what that looks like. Then I'm just going to put these on a plate, and then I'll try one. Okay, I'm going to cut this end piece off that's not going to be attractive, and I'm going to try a piece of that one. This is a good Christmas memory. These are delicious. And no one, unless you told them that it was made out of a potato, they won't believe you. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you will try to make it for yourself. If you do, please let me know and tell me how it turned out and how you like it. If you have any other tips and tricks that I didn't mention, I would love to hear from you. So please give this video a thumbs up, and if you like this content, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when I make more videos. So I hope you have a wonderful evening. Good night.